Hello, welcome back to Boxroom Books with me, Ray, and with Drew, the last final instalment of this mini-series of Drew Gummerson interviews. And today we're going to talk about Saltburn, all things Saltburn. And so this came out in 2025.
Yep.
So we've had a gap of 5 years between the Hotel Flamingo and Saltburn. And we're going to start off, I just want to ask you about, as a place, so Saltburn, if you don't know, is a real place where these 6 stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the book is based of, is structured around these 6 stories. And they're all set in this seaside town. So what is your relationship with the place, Saltburn? Is there one?
My relationship, so the only relationship I have is that my dad was from there or near there. So my dad grew up in Middlesbrough, and Redcar. His mum and dad lived in Redcar, which is just a few miles down the coast from Saltburn. So I had an aunt.
So Saltburn is, am I right, it's above Blackpool, is that right?
No, it's the other side of the country. It's northeast.
Oh, east, right, sorry.
So Middlesbrough, that side. So,
okay.
So it's northeast England. So that's where my dad's from. And family, like my aunt and other aunts and stuff. But I've only actually been there once.
Right.
So I was about 5 years old.
Okay.
So when I originally had
So it must have made quite an impression, or is it because you've looked back at photographs of Dad and things?
Well, I think it's more to do with loss, I suppose. Because when I started writing Saltburn, my dad died a long time ago now. It was going to be like a memoir of my family. And so that was the idea. That's my initial notes. I'm going to write a fictional story about Saltburn, and then I'm going to write a story about my dad. But then when I started writing, I didn't know anything about my dad, really. So I'd only been there once. I never really met his family. I remember the only time we went up there, my dad was a hitchhiker, so we used to hitchhike around with him. And it's weird, this story. It's almost like a false memory. So remember, we were hitchhiking with my dad in the northeast of England, and this car.
So hang on, your dad was a hitchhiker, but you also hitchhiked as a family?
We'd hitchhike as a family, yeah, because he didn't drive.
Okay.
So we hitchhiked all over, really. Dad was always hitchhiking. We'd just put our finger out and.
Did I read somewhere, or did you tell me at one point, did your dad not drive?
No.
As a family, you were a carless family, is that right?
Yes, I don't drive, so no one in the family ever drove, so we get taxis or hitchhike or whatever, walk. So anyways, we were in the northeast and we were hitchhiking, and these people picked us up. I remember sitting in the back, and my dad was like, "Oh, that's your grandma and granddad." So that's probably one of the only times I've ever met them. So when I came to write Saltburn, I don't know why, I thought I'm going to write a family history, but then I didn't know anything about them. So I didn't do it consciously, but when I look at Saltburn now, it's like a real celebration of love, isn't it? So I think it's all the things.
It absolutely is, yeah.
That I didn't really have, I suppose. I didn't really know my family or have that connection. So it's like it came from a loss in me, I think, when I think about it deep. I didn't think about it at the time I was writing it.
So almost like creating this beautiful love stories, aren't they? They all well, then completely the opposite, really. When I look now, looking back, it's completely opposite to Flamingo Hotel, which is he doesn't really know I don't know where he knows what love is, and then they're all those. And me and Mickey James have got a lot of self-loathing in it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, so these people all find love, don't they? They all end. All of the 6.
But it's not. But guys, right? It's not mawkish. They're not mawkish love stories, are they? At all? No. It's not romance. It's not like
So I'd only ever been to that my relationship with Saltburn has only been there once, but it was where my dad was from. So I guess I was trying to write my own history, but it ended up as an alternative history of the place.
Fascinating. So my next question then is probably a bit of a non-starter, but so there isn't a lot of real Saltburn. It's not really set in a real.
No.
It's not grounded in reality in any way. So there isn't, like, for instance. I know it's going to sound like a really stupid question, but I'm asking it anyway. There isn't like a fetus museum, not
a nuclear power station. I doubt there's a mermaid.
Powered by ponies. Okay.
Mermaid.
Okay. No, there won't be a mermaid, obviously. Right, I've got to ask you this. So, the book, I think I'm right in saying, came out after the film Saltburn. I'm pretty sure Saltburn, the film, came out in 2024.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you'd already wrote the book when the film came out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the film?
Yeah.
Do you like the film?
Yeah, I love it, yeah.
But has it caused any problems in terms of like, did you ever think, because I think if this was me, right, I think I would have gone, oh shit, there's a really popular film there that's getting like, you know, loads of traction online and whatever. I'm not going to call my book the same title because when people search it up, do you know what I mean? They're going to be getting that. It's going to come to the top of the search. Did you ever think about changing the title because of the film?
I mean,
or did the publishers ever say, you know, there's going to be a
certainly not the publishers, no. And I mean, it's where my dad's from, so it's a real place. So I kind of feel ownership. I don't know what I've heard that the director has some connection, or she.
I think she does. I think she does.
Did she build an ivory tower there?
Fennel, isn't it?
Look down on the population. So I didn't, but I wrote it. So I've talked about Flamingo. I finished Flamingo. I said I wanted to by Christmas. I think on the 1st of January I started writing Saltburn on 2020. I was going to have a break, but I just started it. And I go through stages of like manic creativity, and I must have been in one then. Like I just finished Flamingo, and then I started Saltburn almost in the next week, and just wrote that. And I posted that straight away because I'd already written Flamingo before I started posting ABC Tales, but Saltburn got posted online as I was writing. So the original Saltburn stories are absolutely bonkers. So when I came to edit them, I just thought some of them were just bullet points with lists, and like there's a lot of lists, isn't there? I
love the list.
There was so many more. So like the last story, like I cut 10,000 words from it because it was just crazy.
And did anybody at any point when it was going through, you know, editors and stuff, did anybody like try and get you to like, you know, cut down on did anybody like go, oh, you only need a list of 3, or, you know, anything like that?
No, because it only had, so the route to publication was, so Flamingo had come out, and then
on Bearded Badger.
Then Paul at Bearded Badger, he had the shop, and then the shop had to close because there wasn't enough business, and he went back to work. So Bearded Badger went on a hiatus, and Bearded Badger already had my next book, and I'd written Saltburn in 2020, and it's again like the same with Flamingo. I thought I'm not going to publish this. I just was writing it for myself then. Because Flamingo, when I wrote Flamingo, I'd already got 12 years. So I just thought, I'm just going to do what I like now. I don't really give a shit anymore. I'm just going to write what I like. So I wrote Flamingo, Saltburn back to back with Flamingo with no intention of publishing it. I didn't even send it off to Paul or think about it. But when Paul went into hiatus, I'd put a tweet out saying that had happened. And it was really lovely because I got contacted by quite a few people saying, oh, you should be published. I'm going to send you to my agent, and then you should speak to this publisher. And then some publishers contacted me as well. Have you got anything else? So Will from Renard was one of those. So he contacted me and said he got another book. And I thought, well, I've got Saltburn. So I sent it off to him. Like I hadn't really edited it. And I looked, it was shit. God knows why he liked it. So I sent it off to him, and then like I'd given up. I keep saying I give up, but like I said, I like to move forward. So I was writing something else then. So then, like months later, Will got in contact with me from Renard and said he wanted to publish it. And then I withdrew it from the other publisher that had contacted me, and they said they were considering it. But when I came to edit it, I thought, Jesus, this needs some work. So when Will went to edit it the second time, I remember him saying about one of the stories, I think it was the last one, Sven Goes to War. Oh, I don't remember this happening. I thought, well, that's because it didn't in the original. It's 10,000 words shorter. So Sven Goes to War, the character is non-binary and that has they pronouns, but in the original one it didn't. So I changed that in the final. So I spent 6 months editing that after it was accepted. I spent that whole summer going through it and changing a lot of it and cutting it back. And I think you mentioned before, did I tone stuff down? So I really toned Saltburn down from the manic creativity that it was to much more to what it is now. But I'm happy that I did. I remember in your review you said you really liked the world building. I'm really proud of that. And I look at it and think, how have I created this? Like all these stories in this imaginary town that I've made, and I've got a feeds museum and a nuclear power station, and yet all the stories are completely different with different characters, and yet they exist in this same world with the same political party.
And they do all gel together, yeah.
So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, so you should be. So the other thing I wanted to ask is, because you just said you almost surprise yourself sometimes with how kind of out there some of your ideas are and things. So I've got to ask you this, right? Do you have crazy dreams?
No.
No, really?
I think so.
Or do you think maybe you do, you don't remember them and they're coming out in your, have you ever thought about that? Like maybe if you're, you know, where do these ideas actually come from? Do you ever like sit and think about that? No.
I've never struggled for it. People talk about writer's block and they struggle. I've never really done that. I mean, there's times when I don't write, so I can stop writing for months. And I used to think, oh, I'll never be able to do it again. And then you start again and you can do it. So now I just think, if I don't write, I'm not writing now. I'm not going to stress about it. I'll do something else. And also, we were talking before as well, if you do get published, it doesn't change your life. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make you any happier or sadder. Or I guess the only thing it gives you, like I can look back now and think I've achieved this because I've got these things in print. But like a day by day, it makes no difference to my life. Nobody really talks about it. I go to work. No one's really interested. Like it doesn't really make a difference to you. So like, people stress about it so much that they really want it. But when you've got it, well, I'm saying I've got hardly anything. I've like sell a few books, but yeah.
But then, like you say, you're moving on to the next thing.
The most important thing is like doing it. I think like creating it. And
so you obviously really enjoy writing.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
You really enjoy like the process of it. Yeah,
I really love it. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do without. I think sometimes what I would do without it now, because I've done it for so long now. Every morning when I wake up, not every morning, but today I was writing this morning, and I have done for the last few weeks. I wake up, and if I'm not going to work on an early shift, then I'll sit in bed and write with a coffee. And I love it. It's like I'm never bored. I'm so lucky because I know I've always got something to do.
And can you remember when did you write your first story? Can you remember even?
So I think I said before, I remember being in the pub and making up stories before I could even read. And I remember being given a typewriter when I must have been 11 or 12 and like typing out stories on it. And then I wrote stories for the school magazine. I was writing stories at school. So I wrote a story when I was at, what school was I at? I was at was it junior school? No, it was at my senior school. I wrote a story at senior school, and the teacher from my senior school then became a sixth form teacher when I moved to sixth form, and she took my story with her and read it out to her sixth form class. And they came and told me, oh, you Drew Gummerson, with your teachers, your former teachers read out one of your stories. It was a funny story. And then I wrote for the college magazine. I used to write a series of, I think you've read one, Todd Towski. I wrote one 40 years later. So I used to write Todd Towski stories. And that was because of my dad, really, because it was kind of a way of communicating with my dad. He'd write poetry, I'd write stories and give him a story to read because he liked reading. And then I wrote at university. The only gap really is when I was traveling. So after uni, I traveled until like 5 or 6 years. I didn't really do any writing at all. But then, like I said, when I left Australia, I thought I'm going to do it now. So I've thought about it for long enough. Now's the time to do it. And ever since then, so since my mid to late 20s, I've been writing. So what's that, 30 years? 30 years constantly writing.
Can you tell us a bit about so at the end of Saltburn, there's a QR code.
Oh, yeah.
Takes you to a Spotify playlist.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have Spotify, so I've not been able to find out what's on that playlist. But so how important is music to you? Are you listening to music like while you're writing in the background, or is it important in that kind of way, or?
Not at all, really. No, I never have. I write in silence. I have to turn the radio. But I do like music. I listen to the radio all the time. I have it on if I'm not writing, and every time I hear a song that I like, I'll save it. And so I'm always like listening to new stuff. I don't know where the Saltburn playlist came from. I just thought it'd be a nice thing. And then Will said, we can do a QR code, Will the publisher. And I thought, I'm really excited about that. Can
you just tell us a few tracks that are on there, on the playlist?
Oh my God. Can't remember.
Can you not remember? Sorry, putting you on the spot.
Serge Gainsbourg's on there.
Okay.
Because he appears in the book. So what I did was, because there are songs in the book thinking about it. So like there's the Moon Bar, isn't there, with all the Moon songs on the jukebox.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So the guy, one of the songs from that's on there, I can't remember now. Sea, Sex and Sand is on there, Serge Gainsbourg. I struggle to remember now what's on it. But I went through the book, and all the songs mentioned in there, like there's lots of French
chanteurs on there. So.
And I guess so the French influence is coming from Dad, and from the fact that Dad read you French poetry, and I guess, is that where that's...
Maybe,
have
and I kind
you
of
spent a lot of time in France, Drew?
tend to go. My dad lived in France, so I used to go and stay with him. He worked on a roller coaster in there, so I used to go and. So I guess that's where the roller coaster came from, me and Mickey James, because Dad worked on the roller coaster and he hated it because he hated heights, and so he used to have to check the tracks every night before it went on. And because he went to live in France when Mum and Dad split up when I was 15, and my brother had left home at 16 and he'd gone to live in France. He just lived in a wood. He just left home and lived in a wood and sold stuff on the beach. You know, one of those people that walks up and down the beach. So that was my brother when he was 16. Which, when I look back, I think it's so young to leave home.
Yeah.
He'd gone and were there. So when my parents did it, my dad thought, well, if Nick can do it, so that's my brother, I'm going to do it. So he went and lived in France. My dad just lived on a bit of wasteland, and so I used to go and stay with him for like months on end, and just I loved it because there was no like mirrors or nothing. You couldn't see yourself. You would just be out in the sun all day. You'd wake up when the sun came up because there was no shade, and you'd be out all day. So I suppose I have spent a lot of time in France, but I kind of liked that for Saltburn. It kind of fitted all the old French songs. Like, it was a bit because when Will was editing it,
I would say it when I was reading it, it felt quite retro, it feels a lot old. It doesn't feel like a really book that's set in the modern day. Do you know what I mean? Really,
that joke.
Or it just seems completely detached from any time period or place, really.
That joke that you liked in the review, I think it was you, about the turnips. So that was my favourite joke as well. When I wrote that, I was like, that's my funniest
turnips
joke
and turn-ups. Yeah.
Anyway, that was when she initially talks about seeing that trend. She said that she's seen it on TikTok. So when Will edited it, he said, like, you can't really mention TikTok because there's no technology in Saltburn. And I hadn't really realised. I don't think I ever write technology. So I took TikTok out and she'd heard it down the market anyway. So I guess it is in its own little time zone. And I guess the French chanteurs fitted in with that more so than modern music, I suppose. And
just a beautiful celebration of queerness, really, isn't it, that book, I would say, and friendship and love. And
that was like a deliberate thing, because I saw all the horrific stories about trans people in the news, and I just wanted to write something that was a celebration of like different kinds of sexuality, like a whole range of sexualities. Like there's the first story has sex with men, then women, then a mermaid, and there's the man that changes into a woman and back again. There's the non-binary character in the last story. So yeah, I wanted it to be a celebration of like difference.
And just on that, can I just ask you, because I think I've read you've said somewhere, I'm sure, maybe on the Substack, that you don't actually feel sort of that you are welcome almost in the LGBT community, or that, you know, kind of LGBT publishers don't really, you know, they don't really get your work, or maybe you don't feel a real part of that. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
I don't want to sound negative about it. I'm just not a part of that. I don't know why. And it doesn't matter, because I do have a little niche that I exist in, which is like indie publishing that seem to welcome me. And there's no reason why I should be, because there's no reason why I should be welcomed. And I'm glad that it exists. It's just that I'm not part of it, I suppose. But that's not a problem. It's just I'm not part of it in my real life. I don't really have any gay friends, or I mean, I'm not very social anyway. I don't really have any friends. But so like, I think if I'm not accepted, not accepted, that's not right. I don't want to make it like
I've maybe used that's maybe a bad word choice on my part.
I'm just not part of it. Like in my life, in my writing life, in my real life, I don't move in that world, and that's that'll be down to me. It's not It's not that community's problem. It's probably my issue with making connections with people, I would say. So it's down to me. It's not a blame thing, but and I'm glad that it exists, and it's 100% got my support. So I'm being attacked by a bee. It's got 100% got my support, and it's just that I'm not part of that community.
And just to end on something on a real positive then. So I would like to know, because you've made me laugh so much, and I'm sure you make, you know, lots and lots of other people laugh with your brilliantly funny books. What makes Drew Gummerson laugh then? What is your kind of comedy? And I don't mean just books. You don't have to just stick to books. You could tell us about TV, films, you know, whatever.
So I knew you were going to ask me this question, and I thought about it. And it's kind of like when I talked about Saltburn being about loss and a lack, I suppose the humour in the books comes from anxiety that I'm going to bore people. So then So
you're overcompensating?
I don't do it deliberately. So I don't think I'm going to write something funny. And I don't know that it is, and I don't mean to be writing stuff that's funny. So that's just how it comes out. And then if I look at a page and it hasn't got something that somebody might find amusing, I'll get anxious about it, and they're going to get bored with this. So then I'll delete it. So it's not that I'm trying to be funny, it's just that I'm trying to not bore people to death. So it's anxiety. So in terms of what makes me laugh, I don't know really, nothing really. I must do, but I don't like stand-up comedians. I don't watch sitcoms. I don't watch funny films. Like, people tell you a funny film, like, and they're normally American and they're usually dreadful, and I last about 2 minutes. I tried to watch Seth Rogen, is it, film the other day?
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to him, but
not your
it was
bag.
supposed to have a funny opening, but I lasted about a minute before I turned it off.
Yeah.
So, what makes me laugh? I like Woody Allen, although he's probably not.
It's become kind of controversial now, hasn't it? To like Woody Allen, but I think retrospectively, his early films. I
love Sleeper with like the nose and chase rounds. What else makes you laugh? I don't know. Random stuff, but like stuff in real life. I hate when people tell you, "I'm going to tell you a joke," and then like, "No, don't, please, because it's not really funny." In
case you don't, yeah.
Or people want to show you a funny. They'll come up to you at work with a funny YouTube video. I'll watch this, and like, no, they're not going to find it funny. So, just everyday things that I come across, I suppose, that aren't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So if someone contrives something to be funny, or
are there any writers that do make you laugh?
Do you laugh when you read a book?
Yeah, God, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever have.
Your books make me laugh out loud. Obviously,
people say that.
I was reading on the train and was laughing out loud, and people were getting really pissed off with me the other week. And I tell you what else made me really belly laugh that I've read recently is Hope. Have you read Hope, a Tragedy? Which is it's like a Jewish satire. That is bloody hilarious. I belly laughed at that a lot. Yeah.
It puts me off when people tell me books are funny, because there's a famous American writer, people tell me it's hilarious, and I tried to read him, and it put me off because people said it was funny and it wasn't. So like
humour is it's a very personal thing, isn't it? Your taste in humour is quite personal to you, isn't it?
I'm currently reading Post-it Notes from the Underground by Simon Crump, that's just published by Blue Moose. And I love it. It's going to be it's already one of my favourite books. It's perfect. I love it, and it's funny, but it doesn't make me laugh out loud. But it's funny writing. I don't know. I'd laugh. I don't know. It's nice that you said you laughed at my books. I don't think I've ever laughed at a book. I don't know. I think it's just something people. I was thinking in my head that's just something people say that it's nice to know that they actually do.
No, genuinely.
And if my books are funny, I don't mean them to be, so I apologise. I'm trying to write serious things.
Right, before we let Drew go, I want you to set me a challenge. I would like you to choose a book.
Okay.
That you think I need to read that I maybe won't have come across, kind of thing.
Okay. So I mentioned it already, actually. I think because it's not very well known, The Lonely Hearts Club.
Okay.
By Raoul Nunez.
Raoul Nunez.
Yeah, it's published by Serpent's Tail, but I think it's out of print now.
Okay, I'm going to try and get hold of it.
Or another one that I love is My Friends. Have you heard of that? By Emmanuel Bove.
I have not.
Okay.
I've not heard of that.
That's really funny as well.
Okay. I will check those out. Right, so thank you so much, Drew, for doing this. I so appreciate it. I really do. It's been wonderful chatting. Hopefully everybody's really enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that business.